Hey, how are you?
Good, thank you, and yourself?
Good, thanks. So thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for
Uh,
having me.
yeah, of course. So just to get us started off, could you tell us which program you're in, what year, and your hometown?
For sure. I'm concluding my fourth year in the Joint Honors Political Science and Public Administrations program here at Ottawa, and I am from Toronto, but more specifically, I am from Etobicoke North.
Okay, so this past February, Bibi represented Belgium and Mauritius while taking part in the Quebec Model United Nations Conference. Bibi also does a lot of volunteering on and off campus. She's the vice president of philanthropy for the International Public Policy Student Association. While she is off campus, she gives her time to various organizations, including Equal Voice, the Canadian Club of Ottawa, and the Forum for Young Canadians. Finally, she's the founder of Project Breaking Barrier Initiative. So, Bibi, to get us started, can you describe your experiences in the co-op program by expanding on what type of placements you had and what that means when you're in a joint program?
For sure. Being that I am in both political science and public admin, I have the options to be in work placements that are more politically focused or more policy focused. So I had the opportunity to work with the Treasury Board Secretariat of Canada in their financial department for salary management. And then I also had the opportunity to work here on campus with the Career Development Center, where we planned professional development events for students across campus. And I'm currently looking for my last and final placement for the summer. So you have a range of options that you could go for. It could be anything really, as long as it fits within the co-op guidelines and within the parameters of your program. The world's your oyster, and you can do it here, home in Canada, or you can be abroad as well.
So do you pick places first, or are you given a list? How does that work?
So essentially, there's two ways where you can find your placement. You can either be put in a job bank where there is a list of placements that you can choose from, or if you know of places that you're heavily involved in and they're willing to offer you a job, you can conduct your own search as well.
Okay, so you can kind of do both.
Yes.
Nice, that's good. Now, you also take the time to organize paint nights to help your fellow students with mental wellness. Can you explain a little bit what led to you doing this initiative?
For sure. I am the Duke of Edinburgh's award recipient for bronze, silver, gold, and diamond levels. I am also a Daughter of the Vote delegate for Equal Voice. I was inspired to start this initiative because mental health is something that is very personal to me and my friends, and being that university, if you're coming for the first time, it is very overwhelming and you can lose track of things, and oftentimes you feel like you're alone. I wanted to create a space on campus for students and members of the community where they can come decompress and learn how to practice mental health and well-being, so that they don't feel like they're alone and that they have somewhere that they can feel supported.
Yeah, yeah, because first year can definitely be overwhelming. And so what would be your takeaways, or what would you recommend to students that are starting this fall, and what they should do to feel supported?
For sure. My first tip is to get involved on campus, find out who your student association is, take a tour of campus to figure out where these resources are. Something that I wish I had known in first year was to do that walk around where they show you where every resource center is. Unfortunately, I didn't know where these resources were, so I didn't really have access to them at the time. But I would definitely do that. The second thing I would do is create a schedule for your classes and for work if you are working part-time or if you're doing co-op or other volunteer initiatives. That way you have a visual and a clear path for your day and for your week, so it gets less overwhelming as you start your first semester and as you conclude your last year.
Okay, wonderful. So I guess this kind of piggybacks on to my next question, but So you are able to do a lot. You volunteer, you're in a student association, you study. So how do you do it all? How do you find time to volunteer and study? What management strategies do you have to share?
For sure. I'm very passionate about politics and public service, hence my program, but I always loved giving back to my community. And that's something that I learned throughout the Duke of Edinburgh's journey. I'm actually wearing my pin, and something that I learned throughout university is like, we're here in Ottawa. For me, this isn't home. Home is Toronto, and I have the incredible opportunity to be exposed to different events and to different organizations where I can learn. And learning doesn't necessarily have to happen in the classroom. And I've been incredibly fortunate to learn from these other organizations and be part of different communities. I would definitely, again, in your first week or first 2 weeks even, is take a tour of the city and get to immerse yourselves into the surroundings, into your environment, see what's around there, go to events, go to your student association, attend the U Ottawa events. You never know who you'll meet, the friends that you'll make, and where you'll end up. I never thought that I would end up working on Parliament Hill for the International Trade Committee, and that's something that I was incredibly fortunate to be part of because of my involvement and my commitment to volunteering.
Oh, that's amazing.
Thank you.
So Bibi, you're finishing up your last year, so I bet it comes with a mix of emotions. Looking back, what was your most memorable moment in Ottawa, and what's next for you?
I think it's definitely a difficult question to answer, and I've been thinking about this for a while. And I think my most memorable moment, there's a few. There's the first reaction I ever had stepping onto campus and realizing that this was going to be home for the next 4 years. Other moments were when I won my election to represent my student body and serve my community of students, which is always very impactful for me because, as I said, I love being part of the community and helping out. And knowing that, the 4 years that I've spent here, I've grown professionally, I've grown personally, I've made a ton of memories that I could go on for, like having an internship on Parliament Hill and being the first and only student on that committee that gets to work really closely with that team, or watching the fireworks on the hill, or when the Prime Minister came to campus and attending panels, or even supporting the GGs at the Panda game. And hey, like, we won 2 years in a row, so how can you not be proud and keep those memories? And I've made a lot of friends here that I know that when we all cross the stage together, whether if it's virtually or in the next couple of months, that we're going to be in contact for a while. So it's definitely the community that comes with it.
Amazing. So next steps, do you think you'll stay in Ottawa?
For next steps, I might do a master's in global affairs or even go to law school. My goal is ultimately to run for federal politics and maybe one day as our prime minister. But who knows at this point? The world is your oyster and anything is possible. I initially didn't think that I would be in Ottawa, and here I am. I'm about to finish and walk across the stage.
That's amazing. Well, we're definitely going to remember your name, Bibi, and thank you so much for your answer. They're very inspiring and really nice to hear.